Hey y'all, it is Moonlight Cowboy again, and today we are going to learn how to build on top of the blue tower in Charleston. So you can build up here. It's kind of tricky to build up here, but honestly, it kind of gives you a clean slate to kind of build whatever you want. And I'm going to show you what I built today. The first part of this is just how to get up here, so that's what most people are probably going to watch. But I'm going to show you how I did my structure up here as well. Compared to some of my more recent tutorials, this one's going to be on the lighter side. So this is one that I would encourage like your intermediate builder or somebody who has some acumen for building, but doesn't have to be a pro. So, first things first, I did this a little funny. I decided to go ahead and not use a jetpack because I don't have one on this character. And I also don't have anything that saved me from fall damage. So I placed my camp as close to this thing as possible, and I threw on some scout banners, right? So and then I take this turret. I've done this trick several times. I have a tutorial on it if anybody has any questions or like what's going on here. But I assure you, it's in adventure mode. It is possible. And I have been getting a lot of feedback that the trick hasn't been working for everybody. So I don't know what's going on, but I just did it just now. But because of the scout banner, I was able to resurrect up here. It's so lazy. All right, so now that for the tricky part, now that you're up here, you have to try and get that camp device to place. So I'm jumping and I'm trying to place it in that little spot where it turns green. And you'll know it turns green because you'll hear the cha-ching sound of your camp device moving. So it actually took me a lot more attempts than this. I didn't film them all. But it was about a 20-minute endeavor for me. You have to do it just right. So please refrain from the comments of it doesn't work because it definitely does. I just did it, and I swear I'm in adventure mode. So since I'm up here and I don't have a jetpack and I don't have any more scout banners, I'm going to immediately put up something so that way I know I can spawn up here. So right now, as you see, I am getting catwalks, and I'm just like, whatever, just throw some catwalks up there, uh, and just get it. I don't even care if it's pretty or not. I just need to make sure that if the game crashes, that I'm not going to be completely screwed. So we're good now. I know I can spawn up here, and life is good. So the cool thing about this place is when you line it up here on this between those two posts perfectly, you're basically centering your whole thing, your whole build by doing that. What I did though is I decided to move it back a little bit off of there with my walls. And the reason for that is because I want to get some roofs down. I don't want to use the roof that's up here as my roof for my, or like the floor for my build. I mean, you could do that, and I have done it in the past, but I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to get a little flooring in. So I'm basically positioning my walls to try and get roofs down is really all I'm doing. I don't plan on keeping any of these walls that you see. Once I got some in position here, let's see how that looks. All right. As long as I can get it in close to this machine here. This machine is real tricky. Like this little, like, I don't know what it is. Elevator shaft thing, AC thing, I don't know. But whatever it is, it's a real pain. As you see, I can't just place things here. And you have to be really kind of finicky with the placement of your wall. Because as you see, I was able to get it in by angling my roof, angulating. So I was able to get it in though, and get it really close to this thing without too much issue. So I want to create more room in the back. I got it to where it's right next to the machine over there, but I want to do like 3 tiles in the back because I just want a little bit more space inside of my build. So all I'm really doing now is I'm just going to adjust my the length of the distance of the walls here, so that way I can just add a roof and try and put that into position. So, all right, now that that roof's in position, I'm going to remove that catwalk, kind of surveying the land a little bit, making sure that I did the distance correct. We're going to give it a go. So we'll get these things out of the way here, the ones that I initially did, because I can always put those back if I need to because I have the other wall there. Just catwalk back to it. And now we're going to see if I did this correctly. All right, now I can get down to business here. So we're going to lay that flat. And it looks like I was able to get in there no problem. One. Oh, I got to make sure that I've unhinged it or unhooked it from the other roofs. There we go. And now I should have no problem placing it. It'll actually place pretty flat too. The roof is somewhat forgiving, unlike being on top of the monorail, like not the monorail, the like a power line pylon where that invisible barrier has zero forgiveness. Um, Anyhow, the next set of roofs I'm putting in, now I could have done something jinky, or not even jinky, something super custom, and created yet another extension off of my build for more roofs to create floors. But instead, what I'm going to do is I decided I'm going to make this like a little garden area. And to do that, I want to use the grass roofs as floors in parts of this build. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to measure to make sure that my roofs are not going to hit that AC unit thing, whatever that pre-existing item is on the roof there. And I can tell right now that that's not going to be a thing with that distance. So that's not a hard fix. All I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the roofs and probably that wall there that's in the way. And I'm going to catwalk. Actually, I'm going to catwalk off of that wall. Excuse me. And that's going to give me just a little bit more distance away. And I can keep catwalking off of it too if I wanted to get further away. But the goal for me was to make sure that the roofs were actually just going to sit on top of the building, but not hang over. I figure since I'm going to do like a garden effect, that'll give me some forgiveness in terms of trying to, make the build, like fill it up a little bit on the ground so that way I can cover some things up. All right. So now I'm going to do something a little bit different. After I try and get this in here, I'm going to show you that I'm not going to be able to get it over onto the other side the way that I want it to. See how the roofs are not angled the correct way? At this time, I was deciding whether or not I still wanted to do floors. So I wanted at least the roofs to be running the same way, that like the grain of the, I guess you would call it the wood or whatever. So to do that, I changed that one roof into the corner piece and then the other roof into the corner piece. And that actually flipped it around. But now I'm running into a problem where I can't actually get my roof to snap in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip that roof around so I can come in from the other direction. And that didn't work, so I'm going to flip it the other way. And as you see, it's kind of pointing down towards the thing now. And now I'm able to snap it in. So you really got to just kind of play with it to see how it's going to work out for you. Yeah, looks pretty good, and it doesn't overhang anywhere on the roof, which is what I wanted. So at this point I decide, okay, well, this is going to be my lawn, or part of my lawn. Yeah. Now I'm going to add the walls. So what I'm doing is I'm going to flex one of these roofs to be at an angle. I'm going to add a wall. I'm going to add an angled roof to that wall, and then I'm going to flatten it. I'm going to add an angled roof to the flat part. What I basically did there by doing that is I raised the height of the way the wall placement will be, so that way I can add doors. If you just try and place a wall off of the first angled, the first one I put the wall off of, you can place the walls no problem, but you won't be able to place doors after the fact. So because I did it that way, as you're going to see here in a second, whammy, we can place the door. See it turn green, and I'll do it just for funsies. There we go. All right, so now we know we can place doors on here. So I figure at this point you probably already know how to catwalk walls into place. So I went ahead and got this part of this started. But what happens when you want to do like a half wall, right? So like I want there to be like one of the walls to have like where it's completely glass. So I'm going to add those catwalks. And I'm going to do that half wall like that. And then I'm just going to come back the other way at the bottom of that half wall. And then I can add my glass half wall at the bottom. I like the glass half walls better than I like the glass full walls because there's not that weird large metal border at the bottom of the half walls. So anyhow, the next thing I want to do is double wall this. So I added a door. By the way, big shout out to Alex P for this. I guess I didn't know this one. I turned the barn door into a wall, added the door, and then I can snap a brick or barn doorway to that door, which is actually a really neat trick for being able to add walls, double wall, without having to do some catwalk shenanigans. In this case, it would have been really hard because the catwalk situation for me, I can't place it down below in order to snap in my wall to do the double wall. So anyways, so I'm going to show you that again because I kind of talked through it. Added my door, turned it into a wall, and then added another doorway to that door. And then I can remove the door, of course. So I've decided on this build, I kind of want to go with, I could have double walled the entire outside, but I kind of wanted to go with one of the natural looking exteriors. But I am still going to do some fun things like I'm still going to have some walls are going to be half walls or full walls, but I'm not going to double wall everything because I do like the way some of the exterior walls, the exterior parts of the walls look. And the cool thing with half walls, you can't, even though they're harder to get rid of, you have more flexibility to change from different wall types. So this is just me putting in more of the half walls across from each other. That part's pretty easy. Yeah. Now we're going to wall in this side. And again, we're just pivoting basically off of every wall that's already in place to get our walls into place. That part's easy. We're going to run into some complex things here in a second. This is where, of course, if you don't have certain walls, like this abandoned mindset wall, you can deviate from what I'm doing. But anyway, so I use that because I have the abandoned mine wall set. You can actually clip walls through it when it's destroyed, because I want to cover up that gap over there. If I didn't have that wall, I'd probably use something like a wavy Willard, concrete, like the little brick posts that they have in defenses or something along those lines to cover that up. But because I do have that set, I can change those walls, and now I actually went 1 1/4 walls wide. And over here, I'm kind of going to do a similar thing too, because I realized that I want to make this a full bathroom. So as you'll see, I didn't actually have to go out that full wall length. I just kind of did it. And I realized it after the fact, because normally I like to do this by catwalking off the bottom. But anyways, that neither here nor there. Just added my door. And yes, you can snap the door through the broken abandoned mindset, turn it into a wall, and then bam, I can double wall. Now, because I did this, I'm going to repair these walls, and I'm going to realize that I don't want that white wallpaper texture, so I actually can remove it. I thought about that for a long time. You didn't see me ponder that for like 5 minutes in game. I'm like, do I remove it? Do I not remove it? Because it's going to be really hard to put it back once you remove it. But anyways, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I add the rest of my walls to the build. So that's kind of how it looks before we add the roofs. Now, the thing about roofs, I'm going to do a quick 1-minute tutorial on the science behind roofs. So when you put a roof at an angle, and then you flatten it, and then you pick it back up, you can see right there that there's 2 different levels to a roof regarding how you place them. So if you place it flat, it'll go slightly lower than if you place it, at an angle and then flatten it. And that's the science behind a lot of my roof tricks. And I'm showing you all this because I'm going to show you how to double roof this build. And the really easy way to do a double roof, so that way the underneath of the roof looks different than the top of the roof, because some of the underneaths look good. So as you see here, I'm destroying that roof. And I'm going to repair this other one. I really didn't have to, but I'm kind of OCD about stuff like that. But as you can see, that one roof is a different height than the other one still. And now I can just kind of snap one in because I have those other roofs in place. And then once I can change it up, I can repair it, whatever, and then I can go down here and then I can change the type of the underneath of the build. So that way it looks kind of cool that way, right? So that way you're not locked into, oh, I have to choose a certain roof based on how the underneath of it looks. So I'm basically going to do a very similar thing over here, except it's going to be much more convoluted, which is why I did that brief explanation of what I'm doing. So here, as you see, I'm flattening it, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my angles like so. And I'm adding them as angles to the flat roof. But because the flat roof was angled up and it's still that flat height when you flatten it, that's what we're looking for. And you can see the difference there between the two roofs when I place that other one. So yeah. So once I get those into place, I would then destroy those. And then I would get the next set in as angles instead of being flat. But again, if you have questions on that, all you really need to do is go back and look at that 1-minute tutorial that I just did. Kind of a tutorial within a tutorial, like Inception, right? All right, moving on. So now I got to get my angled walls into place because I decided to do angled roofs. So in order to do that, I basically destroyed a brick version of the angled wall, and then I can add another angled wall. And that's how you can like double wall angles, is by turning it into a brick and then destroying it and then adding another one. I'm going to do it here real quick, kind of show you again. So on this one, because I want to go not just to the walls that you saw me place it on, I wanted to do one there, I could actually then destroy that one too. And because I turned them both to brick again and left them in place, I can add that version of it right there. So that way I had like, because as you're going to see in this build, the roof, because the wall differential, the roof is going to be like slightly off, but that's intentional. So on this glass wall over here, I want to do a double wall above it. I don't want to do a double wall below it. So what I did here to do that was I catwalked off of the wall and I created a wall to work off of. So right now I have two walls, none of which are touching that glass wall that's down there. And now I can add my angled wall or slant wall, what have you. And then when I destroy that wall, I can then turn the other one. I'm sorry, I turned it into brick and then I destroyed it. And then I can add my other one catwalking in with the other way. So this is another good demonstration on how that process worked. And then I just remove my catwalks and I can change them now to whatever wall type that I want. I like using these casino walls because they don't have like a weird like overhang on them, and they don't pop through the roofs. So the last thing I'm going to show you is hiding power here. If you're blessed to have this generator, it's great. If not, I highly recommend getting it. So you can actually merge this thing down into a mat. And if you notice, all of the creatures in the area are shooting at it because they will go for your generator first. So I like to hide this. It doesn't always stop them from shooting at your camp, but it definitely limits them shooting at your camp. And because I put it on the mat there, I'm able to hide it inside of that box over there. There are some parts of the roof that you could also hide it on. Not all of the roof, but yeah, I can just snap that right there. And now the shooting stopped, because if you've built here before, you know that all they do is shoot at your camp, shoot at your camp, shoot at your camp. So I hope that you found these tutorials to be helpful. Yeah, I like to build in crazy locations. I feel like with these crazy locations, you can really create something that's not only unique, but a unique location. A lot of times my locations have views that I like to build in. So if you like what you see, make sure you share with your friends. Subscribe if you're not already. It does help. Leave likes, comments, what have you. At the end of the day, whether you do or not, I really hope that this has inspired you to create something that is your own, something that's magnificent and that you'd be proud of. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a blessed day and stay safe out there.